Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Park Lane podcast. Apologies, we are late. We were feeling a little bit Spursy tonight and not wanting to come on. But here we are. A bad week for Tottenham, a bad week for Ange, loss against Galatasaray in Turkey, rolled over by Ipswich again today. I don't really know what to say anymore. His flip-flopping is pretty awful, or as Ange would call it, a thong. But Cal, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I could be better, mate. I mean, there's probably better places that I'd rather be on a Sunday night after two losses. But me and you drew the short straw this weekend, and yeah, we have to go again, don't we?
Yeah, I mean I'm going to get into Ange in a little bit, but we got a couple of games to go over. But I don't know about you. I just want to say one thing before we get into it. A lot of people are saying that Ange is out of his depth, and a lot of other people are saying we've got to trust the process and we've got to go along with it, and we can't keep restarting processes. And whilst I do agree with that, and I've always been a big Ange fan, what I will say about Ange is this constant win lose win mentality is not something I enjoy. And the football, the attacking football may be great, but when you are a team who are as leaky as a Titanic after it hit an iceberg and can't defend set pieces, that isn't fun to watch. So, actually, let's get on to Ange now. Fuck it, we're here. So, what's your kind of thoughts about Ange? I know we had a brief conversation earlier, and you made a really good point, but I'll let you make it to the boys. But very quickly before I get there, we have got a couple of people in the chat as always. Yeah, apologies, Johnny. Welcome to the show, mate. Apologies, we are late. I'm being a little bit unwell, unfortunately, so I had to delay by 20 minutes. Jay, welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in and losing to Ipswich. Yeah, don't even want to go there. Like I said, Dr. Tottenham will see you now. Johnny, only 18 minutes late. Yeah, 18 minutes late. Better late than never. And Johnny says, I'm an Arsenal fan, trust the process forever, mate, for decades and decades. And Jay, which is spot on, make sure everyone is subscribed to the channel and tune in to Wednesday nights for Fat Pod Lads. I'm hoping to get Cal on soon, actually. That'll be a good laugh. But Cal, anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. Your thoughts matter, your opinions matter. Get your comments in the chat on everything we're talking about. Talk to you about Ange, Cal. What's your kind of feelings right now? How are you feeling about the Ange process? Is it something we should stick with?
I don't think it needs to be reactionary, but it's definitely, like you said, win-win, lose, win-win, lose, lose-lose. Probably win against City, ironically, after the international break, and then go again where we then lose silly games. Because when you look at last year, we won all the stupid games, like against the bottom of the league ones where you expect them to, and then lost against big teams. This year, we've kind of swung it the other way. We've beat United, we beat City, we beat Villa, and we've had two crappy results against teams that were bottom of the league or were very close to bottom of the league as well. So, I mean, it's all well and good playing a lovely attacking style when, like I said, we're more leaky than someone after a dodgy Indian on a Saturday night. I know you can relate to that one
Yeah,
on
I can,
many
mate. I
levels, Dave.
can. I can.
But the whole mantra of it is that even Ange came out and said today that the consistency was down to his style. He needs to fix it. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. Well, the problem is because of how intense his style is, it takes a lot out of the players. And
Mm-hmm.
the whole aim, I thought, of Thursday was to rest a load players to get them ready for this weekend. The problem is that with the amount of injuries we got over the last couple of weeks, we now have no squads that are good enough for the first team. We are overusing our existing first team players, and we're then playing against an Ipswich team who, ironically, most of the last games we played against Ipswich, we have lost as well, which is a real bad one. And especially as Kieran McKenna was at Spurs at one point as our head of under 23s or under 18s as well. So
Correct.
he came home to do a bit of dirty stuff on us as well. So it's such a hard one. And I don't think it's time to call for Ange to go, because my number one to come in probably to replace him would have been Amorim, who's now going to
Yeah.
United. And I couldn't see Daniel Levy coughing up 10 million plus then the bonus package that they're paying to Sporting for, I think, about 12 or 13 coaching staff as well, plus then all the existing coaching staff that are already at United. So he's going to have the same amount of coaching staff as Conte had, which is about 600 by the end of it as
Yeah.
well. So, I mean, how do you sum up the time with Ange? It's good days, bad days. Yes, it's a project. Are we patient enough for a project? Are we a reactionary fan base? Well, yes, we're in the middle of a project. Am I patient enough for a project? It's the only stuff that I've ever seen in my time watching Spurs at the age of nearly 28 in February, apart from one cup under our good old friend, whoever. And do I want to see a change? In all honesty, Dave, I don't know. Because last weekend we was all crazy. We did six. We did Aston Villa over, and we had a great weekend.
Well,
Then we come back
just to be
after
honest
another.
with you, Cal, just jump in, Cal. Ronnie says Ange out. He's clueless and arrogant. Johnny makes a really good point here. He says it's banter sometimes, but by being beat by Ipswich at home, a newly promoted team haven't beat anyone this season, not even in their own home, is something else. It's bad. It's really bad. And I do agree with that. It is bad. I mean, we did the same thing to Palace. Palace hadn't won a game. They come to see Dr. Tottenham. Ronnie, I am fully with you, mate. Levy out, ENIC out, Profit for Glory. Everybody knows that I am heavy ENIC out. But just jumping on a point you said, which Johnny says, good days, bad days. Yeah, I agree with Johnny here. I am having a lot more bad days as a Tottenham fan at the moment with Ange, and I am good days. Everyone talks about us beating City in the League Cup. That was a massively, massively understrength City team. They played a load of kids, and we only just got past them. We talk about the team. We spent a fortune on Romero, on Udogi, on Dragoshin, on Van der Ven, on Porro, etc. And the defense is not that great. How we have spent that much money, but no one can defend a set piece is laughable. That's the most frustrating thing for me. I don't understand, and I've said this before, that I'm a big Ange fan, but I don't get his arrogance to say, I'm going to play one way and one way only. I am not going to change my style. This is how I play. If you don't like it, get along for the ride. It's tough. I don't agree with that, because that might work in Japan. That might work in Scotland, where the teams are garbage. But let's be honest, it doesn't work in the best league in the world, because the reality of the Premier League is anyone can beat anyone on any given day. But I'm a Tottenham fan, and I go into every game thinking we're going to lose at the moment, because we concede the sloppiest, easiest goals. You've got a goalkeeper who can't command his box and can't command his area. He might be a good shot stopper, but that's not enough in this league. We've got a centre half in Romero who's just a sulker, drops off and sulks off. Dragoshin feels like he doesn't want to be there forever. Van der Ven is unbelievable, as we know. I'm not sure what that's going to entail. Levy will probably cash in on him at some point. So I just want to see some consistency. And when I say consistency, I don't mean just play one way. I mean consistency in the results. I want to see a team that goes out and gives absolutely everything for the fans watching. All them fans went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today to watch their team in a game where, no disrespect to Ipswich, but we should be rolling them over with the squad we've assembled, with the amount of money we've spent. So I'm not calling for Ange out either at all at the moment. But what I am saying is that somebody needs to get hold of him and say, drop your pride, drop your ego. I understand you want to play attacking football, but you playing that high line against every team in this league, when you are playing against teams who will sit there in a low block for 90 minutes just to get one counter attack to score, is all it's going to take. So you made a really good point when I spoke to you earlier. You said about other managers being under pressure. Elaborate a bit, mate.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be other managers who are probably in a better position than us. Like, just say Eddie Howe at Newcastle, been under so much pressure since day one of getting that Saudi money in. He's probably under more pressure than Ange, and yet they've won really well today against a Forest team who have been one of the most informed teams under Nuno in the league. And yet everyone will say that probably Nuno and probably Howe are probably under more pressure than Ange is at the moment. And it comes back to a couple of points that I've heard other people make, but then also we've discussed and I've discussed on other pods as well, where I've said that is it enough to get top four to keep your job at Spurs? And realistically, that's probably where the Spurs bold ambitious, not the fans, not the supporters trust, not a lot of people in the club, but if you do get top four, then you'll probably keep your job and all that. And it doesn't matter if like Ten Hag's been sacked after a decent finish last year, but got a cup, and the same the year before as well. So I think Ange needs to be more accountable. I think the players need to be more accountable. I think that there's got to be a reckoning that comes into it. And like we've all said, we all back Ange. We all think he's a good manager on his day. The problem is that them days are few and far between at the moment. There's not enough consistency in the squad. He came out and said he was happy with the squad that he got in the summer. Well, after that squad that he's either haven't utilised or have been out injured. So what was the point of us getting Timo Werner injury prone? Wilson Odobert out for God knows how long. Richarlison still about, can't be shifted on, and yet now he's probably out for the next 6 to 8 months. And then we could have got Saudi money in the summer. Archie Gray, well, we don't know where he actually plays or features in the Spurs squad because he's played left back, right back, centre defensive mid. I even see him playing as a 10 at one
Yeah, I
point,
saw
which
that.
is just all over the place. Lucas Bergvall has come over to here, and we beat Barcelona to get his signature. He hasn't even featured, so I mean, I know that's
Just
an
on just on
adjustment.
Graham, just on Graham Bergvall, Cal, and this is what's pissed me off the most, and it's Tottenham all over. Is that during pre-season, I remember us we were hunting around for a midfielder, and all we heard from Tottenham was, no, Bergvall and
Hmm.
Gray, they've impressed so much, and the youngsters have impressed so much that we don't feel like we need to sign anybody. But then when it comes to actually playing games, they don't play. So they didn't impress that much because they don't play. So I can't understand it. And that feels like Tottenham all over for me. And it's one of the most frustrating things. I mean, if you look at today, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom, but you look at today in the opportunity we've missed with the other results that happened. We win today, we go third. That's a massive opportunity just gone. Instead, we sit what 10th. And Johnny's made a comment here. He said,
Yeah, it
"Go on, pull up Johnny." Johnny said, "Spurs won't get top four. You get top five. It'll be a miracle, in my opinion." I agree. Top four is Liverpool, City, Arsenal, and Chelsea, no doubt, and probably Newcastle fifth. If you manage to pass them, Ange will be a genius. But at the moment, he's not looking like a genius. He's looking like a stubborn fool. And it's not just the Tottenham fans. And this is why some Tottenham fans are so on his back at the moment. It's because we can see how stubborn he is. Fans who don't even know the game professionally, but we can analyze it as fans and say, okay, this is a problem. We're playing a high line with no Van der Ven. Like, we haven't got that pace to track back. Dragic doesn't have that pace. So what do as a manager? You say to your defence, drop back 10 yards, play a tiny bit deeper to cover for that lack of pace that we've got. But he's so stubborn and stuck in his ways to say, this is my way and this is how we're going to do it. And I always win. And I always win trophies. Mate, you're sat 10th. That's the reality of it. You're sat 10th. When is somebody going to turn around and say, Ange, we can't go on like this?
that's the thing. I mean, it can only be a Spurs thing when we have the opportunity to, before an international break, to go from 9th to 6th to 3rd within based on other results happening, and yet somehow we drop a position and end up in 10th and all that. I
Yeah,
mean, the fact that like having Johnny in here, I know he's an Arsenal fan, but he's actually very honest with the way he is. And I bet he's probably seething at how Arsenal played today because of being without Odegaard as well. But Arsenal dropped points, Chelsea dropped points,
yep.
Villa dropped points. United were the only ones who gained points
Even
this
Forest.
weekend. Yeah, even Forest dropped points, and Newcastle got points, but still in behind us if we won today.
Yep,
We had on theoretical statistics and on paper, the easiest game out of everyone today. The only
yep,
teams that turned up were Liverpool and bloody United.
yep.
That was all. And United were playing a Leicester team who are very much inconsistent as well. I mean, I love Leicester. I love all the story and the harmony about them, but they got
I
pulled
fucking hate
apart.
Leicester. I fucking hate Leicester. But that's ancient history with a host we used to have on the
Complete.
show. But
Oh, don't. But yeah, that's the thing. So we had the prime opportunity, and whenever we get a chance, we fuck it ourselves. We are our
it's
own worst
Spursy.
enemy, and we know that there's. Yeah, that's the thing. And we know so many other podcasts around the country at the moment are going to be speaking about their own clubs, about their own problems. And we can only ultimately talk about Spurs. So we are not entitled, but we can give our opinion. Whether they're correct or not, I don't know. But like Ronnie's just said, why not give Gray a go in the midfield?
Yep, even
Hands
Bergvall.
down, you probably could. Because all of these issues that we've got, Basuma being good for the first couple of games, non-existent again. Saar now is in and out of the team. Maddison can't get into the team. Bentancur. So our main issues are the central area, because we don't have problems scoring goals. We've proven
Yep,
that we can score quite a lot of goals, and we've still got one of the best goal differences in the league. But
yep,
our issues are in the centre, and now not having that full centre back to come in to back them up. So we've had to rely on Romero coming in, who was injured from last weekend. Ben Davis, who is, we've already said, not good enough if you want to be chasing something better. Dragusin had really great game last week against City and against Villa, but has had a stinker this week. Udogi overplayed. Porro overplayed. Probably not playing at their best either. So what are your backup options? Reguilon, who they want out of the club, and
yep.
Spence, who could have been out of the club as well. So the makings of a squad are not there. Yes, that's all
Yeah.
part of the project to come, but is that going to be an ENIC project? Is that going to be an Ange project?
Yeah.
Or is Ange part of the ENIC project and going to be a mouthpiece? Yes, man. All of what said. And ultimately, me, you, and Wes had this debate, or me, you, and Winnie and Wes all had this debate weeks ago. We were saying ENIC in, ENIC out, all of that stuff. All that we're seeing now is that the club trying to reduce their deficit, the club trying to do this, the club's trying to do that. It doesn't say the club's trying to do footballing stuff. The club is getting sponsorship for the club, for
Commercial,
their,
commercial,
their
commercial, commercial.
commercial asset gain, commercial asset management as well. So it's so frustrating because so many clubs go through this. So many clubs fuck it up. Spurs are going the same way that every other club is going. They're doing all the business side. I mean, I saw something with Adele last night. Apparently, she could come and do a load of concerts before our next album comes out. She could make 5 to 6 million quid and all that doing concerts for the club. So if she can make 5 to 6 million quid, how much is the club going to make
Yep.
from having all the concessions, all the revenue, all that come for it? But you don't hear about stuff that's
Football and
going
stuff.
around. And I saw a really interesting tweet. Well, that's the thing. There's nothing about the football that we get told about now. It's all very secretive. And there was something that was released by Last Word on Spurs this week, which was then taken down, that apparently from Paul O'Keefe, that apparently Romero has decided he's not going to do any more contract talks. He's going to run his contract down, and he could be gone in the next 2 years as well. I mean, if we was on such a high last year, what's changed? What dynamics there? And then you saw all the reports this week. Apparently Spurs are going to renew Son's contract, but only on the extension on his existing contract, and he may not be there after the end of next season as well. So where are we going with this? Because this project is becoming grayer and more blurred lines
Yeah.
the more I fucking hear about it and all that. And even my optimism, and you know me, I'm quite optimistic. And it's probably not the best thing to have me and you on a lost show, because we're both actually frustrated now. And Luke,
Yeah.
Winnie, and Wes have all managed to get the weekend off.
Yeah, I mean,
finally.
I'm always frustrated, but let's get into the games quickly, Cal. I don't want to spend a lot talking about Ange. I don't want to get into the games, but I want to ask you one question, and I'll answer the same question myself.
Mhm.
How long, as a fan, are you willing to back Ange if things stay the same, and what does he need to do to change?
I think I'll give him till the end of the season. I think 2 seasons was a good judgment point for Arteta at Arsenal. I don't know whether Arsenal fans agree, but looking from a neutral point of view, seeing how their project went, that's when stuff started to change and you started seeing something happen. So I'm happy to give Ange the chance till the end of the season. I think that January has to be utilised as a transfer window,
Yeah,
not
right.
January, not January 30 fucking first. It's got to be January 1st, January 10th, January 20th. It's got to be 2 to 3 players. And if we have got this bloody deal for this geezer from Betis, Cambiaso or whatever his name is, the American, if they
Johnny,
have got an
is
option
it
to do it,
Johnny? What's his
have
name?
a
What's his
look at it.
name? What's his name? Is
Johnny
it John?
Cardoso or
Johnny
Cambiaso.
yeah, Cardozo or whatever it is. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
this is
so
what I'm saying. Like, we have these stupid deals. Like, why are we not doing it? Like, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. I don't get it. But just touching on that, just one more question, Cal, and I'll answer the same question. What is a successful season for Ange where you say, okay, let's back him?
it's got to be top 4 and going for at least one cup. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got our best chance by knocking out City. We've got to knock United out next and go all the way in Cap 1 or Carabao or whatever the hell it's called now, Tin Pot Trophy. We've got to go for Europa League as well.
Yeah.
Simple as that. We've got to push the cup front. Simple as that. We've got to show something for this success, because if he is so adamant that he's successful in his 2nd or 3rd season, he's got to fucking prove it and all that. Because if not,
Well,
he's just going to be another
cool.
yes mouthpiece. He's just going to be
Well,
another
I'm going to answer the same question. So for me, I would say with Ange, I agree with you. End of the season, I think you give him to the end of the year because there's no point in starting a new cycle in the middle of the year anyway. I don't agree with that. You see it through to the end of the season. After 2 seasons, you can kind of assess where we are. 2 years, you can assess where we are as a club, whether we are moving in the right direction. I think we have to win a trophy this season for it to be classed as any type of success. Top 4 to me is unattainable. I think we'll finish top 6, and I'm okay with that. We're not a top 4 team, we're a top 6 team. But top 6 and a trophy I'll take. I don't care what trophy it is. But if he's so adamant he's going to bring success, and bring it. But if the reality of it is as well is there is managers like Graham Potter out there. He's a Levy type manager. So it could end up being on that sort of line. But I'm with you in terms of Amarin. He was the one for me. And Johnny, I'm expecting lots of digs tonight, but this one's harsh. Wayne Rooney left Everton, got married, 3 kids, won 16 trophies, bald, a hair transplant. And Man United's top scorer, returned to Everton, left Everton to go to the MLS. And I'm guessing what follows is, oh, here we go, there's more. Became the manager at Derby, got relegated, left, become Birmingham manager, got sacked. Manager of Plymouth, yeah, Arsenal, Spurs are still haven't won the Premier League. Spurs haven't even won a trophy, mate. So don't worry about it. So, look, I want to move on because we've made our feelings pretty clear about Ange, and like I said, I think I understand fans' frustration. I don't call it flip flopping. I think the frustrations are valid. I think he needs to stop being so stubborn. But we'll see what happens. But on the midweek game, Galatasaray, I didn't watch it. I'm not going to lie. I know we lost 3-2. Victor Osimhen got a couple of goals, I believe. But Cal, you said you fell asleep, so that really doesn't fill me with much hope about how much we're going to talk about. But how bad is that result for Tottenham? I don't think it's that bad away in Turkey.
It was one of them results where a lot of people, including ourselves last weekend, have said that it could have been a free hit. I don't think there are free hits in football, but in the position we did put ourselves in the first 3 games, we was quite close to the top of the table. It was a trial and tribulations game, I think, is the best way of putting it, to be honest. And it's not impacted us too badly. It has put us in. We was 3rd in the table. We're now 7th in the Europa League table. The top 9 teams will go through, and then I think the next batch of teams may play playoffs or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct.
And then so realistically, we need to win our next game to sort of get us back up there.
That's
Galatasaray
Rangers, right?
did take
Is it
our
Rangers
place,
next?
but I think it's either Rangers or I believe there's one against Roma. Let me just have a quick. No, our next game is against Roma on the 28th of November.
That easy.
No, that's the thing, and that's at home as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, Roma lost today, but they are still a very good team. They was shit houses under Mourinho. They've flip flopped about the last year or so. They sacked their manager in De Rossi, got another one in, now looking to get De Rossi back into it.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
it's another shit show club.
They're Tottenham in the
It's just,
Italian league, aren't they? Let's be honest.
they are literally, it's just seeing who's going to be a mouthpiece for the club
Yeah,
and all that. But yeah, so we've got them, and then we've got Rangers as the next route or the next ones, then Hoffenheim, and then we've got Elfsborg, which literally
Elfsborg. Yeah,
sounds like something from Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
So I mean, literally, it could be, fuck knows. I think they're from Sweden or something like that, or Switzerland.
In terms of the Galatasaray game, like I said, I'm not going to sit and pretend I know loads about it because I didn't watch it. But going to Turkey is never easy, and when they do have a striker like Victor Osimhen, who is on loan there, he's going to cause problems. You know, I as a Tottenham fan would love him at Tottenham. I have a sneaky suspicion that at the end of the year he'll be at Arsenal because of the the problems they've got up front. I think that's who they're going to get, and I'll be gutted because I think he's absolutely brilliant. But going to Galatasaray is not an easy place to go. So I just think that it's not a good position to be in. And when you look at the positions of Tottenham at the moment, 10th in the league. Yeah, we beat a City Kids team in the Carabao Cup. We got Man United next, who are going to have a new manager bounce. That's not ideal. Losing to Galatasaray, putting us 7th in the Europa League groups with a hard game against Roma, then followed by the away trip to Rangers. It's not ideal for Ange. I just think that in this lead up to Christmas, if anything was to happen with him, it's going to happen during all of these period of games. Because if we go out the Carabao Cup, start going out the Europa League, and slip down to 10th, 11th, 12th in the table, the writing's on the wall. Johnny's made a couple of comments. He said, "Listen to this. I'm ashamed to say this. I never thought I'd say it, but you'll have a better chance to win a trophy than Arsenal this season. You are favourites to win the Europa League." And what Johnny has also said is we're sort of in the same boat. We both need to win, but for us, it's worse than you. We need it much more, and it's not easy for you either. No, and we have a trophy hoodoo at Tottenham. Like I said to you, in my lifetime, I've seen us win 2 trophies. A lot of people say that us and West Ham fans are the same. We put ourselves higher than we should do, but we've been to that promised land, and got so close to touching that gold that for Tottenham fans, it's like when you've had something. You've been so close to something so great and you haven't quite got it, you're always still chasing that. And for me, I just need to see us lift the trophy, mate. It's killing me.
Did you see any of the stuff that came out about Hugo Lloris's autobiography this week?
Yes, I'm going to come on to that.
Yeah, I'll leave it to later, but there is just one quote that was in it that really links into what we're talking about now with all this trophy stuff.
Drop it in, mate.
In the lead up, a couple of days before the Champions League final. Yeah, if a lead up just to the Champions League final, Daniel Levy got him a sponsorship watch, meant to be a really nice luxury watch. And what it said on there was Champions League finalists 2019. What? Surely that you wait until if you're going to win it, or you're going to get the finalists, you get that afterwards. And there was no recognition or anything like that. It was just like, oh, there you go. There's your present. This is what you're getting, sort of thing. So if we'd have won it, does that mean they would have got their watches taken back and they're getting engraved, anything like that? There was no discussion about that. And Lloris was a mouthpiece for the club as well. He probably went along with a lot of the ideas, but stuff that he's put in his biography was very, very interesting. And just linking with that club thing, I mean, what the fuck does that say? That literally you want to win, the aim is that we wanted to win that Champions League final, and we were so far yet so close. And all that just says is, oh, well, you got there. There you go.
And this is the thing, and this has always been my main Enoch and Levy argument, is that success to Enoch and Levy isn't what success is to us fans. So success to them is revenue. So getting to a Champions League final is decent revenue for the club. Winning the Champions League, it makes them have to spend money because you want to repeat. You see what I mean? Getting to the final is enough for them. Getting top 4 is enough because what it does is it bankrolls the club a little bit more. We are never going, and Paul O'Keefe said this as well, and I fully agree with him. We are, as far as I'm concerned, under this ownership, we will not win another trophy. because success to them isn't about the things in the cabinet. It's about the pounds in the bank, and it's always going to be that way, unfortunately. And everyone talk about Amanda Staveley coming in and things like that, and buying a share in the club and whatever else. That's a train wreck waiting to happen because they're going to clash like you wouldn't believe. But I'm hoping it'll be enough to get Levy out. But look, Galatasaray was like I said to you, it wasn't an ideal week. It's not been an ideal week for Tottenham all over, to be honest. This is why I didn't really want to be here. But here we are. And then jumping on to today's game against Ipswich. I mean, they took the lead through Sammy Szmodics. Obviously, they spent a lot of money on Szmodics, and that Delap got an assist, and then Delap obviously makes it 2-0. Solanke had a goal disallowed before Bentancur put in, scored for Tottenham. But did you watch the game, Cal?
Yeah, I did. There was some really crucial points for all of that we had within the first 20 minutes a few half chances, but then Ipswich probably had the better ones. There was one where Vicario turned the ball around the post. There was I think it was a Szmodic header which hit the bar as well.
Yep.
After Dragusin missed him at the back post, linking in what we said, that Dragu's not had the greatest of weeks in his Tottenham shirt. And then, yeah, Szmodic got a really good goal, but it was a creation of our own mistakes, leaving
As
so
always.
much space. Didn't convert at the other end, and then he managed to put it in. And then the same with Delap's goal. I mean, literally, Delap is proving to be a really, really good young
He's a
striker.
handful, isn't he? He's a handful.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, sort of United or City are probably looking at it now and thinking, we got rid of Alvarez, we lost Delap. They're not in the greatest of form either. Potentially, Delap could have actually been doing a decent job for them because he's not like Haaland. He's sort of a poacher. Yeah, that's the thing. Cole Palmer. There's quite a few others as well that they've got around, and Delap has that sort of poacher-esque sort of impact to his game, and that's how today's goal was. It was that Vicario palms the ball out, hits the back of Dragusin, and goes straight into the path of Palmer. And Palmer's sitting there waiting ready, which is
Delap.
a great striker's instinct. Just that dynamic. Oh, Delap.
Yeah.
And with him sitting there ready and waiting, it meant that we didn't have any chance to sort of do anything.
Yep.
I thought it was very interesting at half time that no changes were made. I thought that a lot of pedestrian people in that first half. I thought our brightest sparks were probably Johnson, Solanke to a lesser extent. I didn't really see much from Kulu. Sarr was quite a pedestrian. Porro was not really doing much, and the defence didn't look very comfortable together. Let's put it that way. Romero wasn't fully fit. I don't think so. When you do look at it, that you would have hoped that maybe that some changes would have been made, but no, came out at half time. Well, came back for the second half. We obviously did start quite decently. A lovely ball put into the box, and Solanke did get the goal, but it was disallowed for handball. So you think, right, here we go. It was rightfully turned off. It did hit his arm. It was under the rulings a handball, so we can't complain that we had a goal chalked off for no reason. And then the game it just settled in. There was no real changes to it, and I thought that there was one change where Werner came on for Sarr. He didn't really do sweet FA, to be honest. Bentancur scored, but there wasn't really anything. And then when I look at when the changes were made, the Sarr one happened on the 55th or 58th minute. That was about it. The next changes weren't until the 84th minute.
And this is a problem I have.
It kind of reminded me of the Brighton game.
Yep. And this is the problem I have, Cal. It's too little, too late.
That's the thing. So does Ange go, oh, I thought the game was already gone, so I wasn't going to make them changes? Well, just say if you did bring on a Maddison 60 minutes, this was the sort of game where Maddison could have had an impact,
Yeah,
where you don't need all of Kulusevski's running about. You need them
intricate.
nice little dotted passes to try and to break open space, because
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Ipswich sat deep, but they was very compact, very well trained and composed to deal with the high line. So you need to have that outer spacing, and it's games like this where probably an Odebear with his runs done something with it. But yeah, it's like Johnny said, it's more than Spursy today. It's just downright
yeah.
stupid.
I'll pull up
Because
that comment.
I mean, does this mean that when we come up against Southampton in a couple of weeks' time, does this mean we're going to be the same as that? I mean, they ain't won sweet FA
This is the problem. This is the
all
problem,
season.
mate. This is the problem, Cal. Right, and this kind of goes back to the point. I heard Alan Pardew on Talksport, and he said, if you are facing Tottenham at the moment, you're going to have confidence because on the ball they play some nice stuff. They play some okay attacking football. It doesn't set the world alight as Ange thinks it does, but defensively, they've got a keeper that can't catch a ball from a corner to save his life or can't command his area. They play this ridiculously high line when they don't have the players that are quick enough without Van der Ven to get back. So to play Tottenham at the moment is gold because all you have to do is just sit in, bed in, sit in, wait, put somebody quick up front, somebody who can break on a counter, and you're away. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a chance. So this is the problem. And what I was saying earlier, it reverts back to Ange again, being too stubborn to make changes when they need to be made. We were flat as fuck in that after 10 minutes in that second half. Flat as anything. The game kind of bedded in, it settled down, and we didn't. In my opinion, Johnson went close with a chance. I can't remember if it was in the first half or second half, but we didn't really look like we were fighting for it as much as we could. It was still the same: 10 passes, 10 passes. Let's try and see what we create. It gets to a point in a game where you have to kind of go, okay, we've got to throw the kitchen sink at them now, and I don't know if Ange has that in him. I don't know if we have even had the players to be able to do that. And Johnny's right. Losing a game against Ipswich, and no disrespect to Ipswich, you haven't won all season. They were playing away from home at our stadium, and we turn up and put in that performance. It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. And the manager has to take so much of that blame because it's his tactics. He sets a team up in that way and he tells them this is the only way you play. So he has to take accountability for that. Johnny said as well, the last podcast I wasn't here, but I predict 80% the Spurs win and maybe 20% the draw. I'll never imagine lose this game. It's incredible. Well, that kind of brings us on to the next point, which is our score predictor. Cal, we all predicted Spurs would win this game. We all predicted Spurs would walk this game. So there's no change in the league, which is good because I don't have the league with me because Luke didn't put the graphics on. But what I will say is Luke, Winnie, and Wes have all forgotten to put their scores in. So I think, Cal, we should give all of them a 5-0 Tottenham win against Man City.
Yeah,
You up for that?
I'll go with that.
Okay, so Cal, let's get
I'm up for that, mate.
Before we talk about Lloris, I want to talk about that for 10 minutes, but let's get your score prediction for City.
I'm going to have to go for a 2-1 City win, mate.
Yep. Fair enough. I'm going for 3-1 City. I'm with you on that one. I think we're going to get battered. But everyone else, you got a 5-0 Tottenham win. So get your scores in next time. But look, I don't want to talk about the games anymore. I'm pissed off of it. I'm fed up. But let's talk about Lloris for 5 or 10 minutes before we wrap up. So as a lot of you know, he released autobiography and parts of it were released. One thing I want to bring up is his comment about Conte. And he made a really interesting comment about Antonio Conte, where he basically said that the players were literally fearful. What do you say? Putting their fingers in his ears. Have you got the comment there, Cal? Hey, I might have it actually. Let's have a look.
I think I sent it to you the other day, didn't I?
I've got it here. Let me just pull the comment up, and I'll read it to you. So the comment says, where is it? I can't even find it. It's here somewhere. Right, let's have a look. Right, here we go.
You got it,
So
mate?
Hugo
If not, I
Lloris
can
has
read it.
popped out and said the following. I found Antonio Conte to be quite a character, driven by victory, which gave him energy, but he found it very hard to control his frustration we started drawing, let alone losing, because his inner torment had to get out. And if he was tormented, then everyone had to share that torment too, and things could get very complicated very fast. He told me once that in any given week, his happiness lasted an hour. Just after winning, that was it. In training, he oversaw everything, organising tactical sessions with 10 outfield players against one goalie. But it was hard for the creative players to find their places in his restrictive gameplay. The rigidity of the structure and set sequences did a lot of good at first, but after a few months, teams learned how to play against us, and it became tougher to win. During matches, Conte was extremely extreme and eruptive. He appeared garnering respect and fear. Such a strong personality pushed wingers to prefer to play on opposite sides of the dugout. Never forgotten our first defeat again for Conte under Conte, a 2-1 loss to NS Mura Slovenia in the UEFA Conference League. Even though I wasn't playing, I was still entitled to his screams and reproaches, just like everyone else. In squad meetings, we'd spend 30 minutes a day doing video analysis, not forgetting the interminable preparation camps at our training centre. After the defeat in Maribor, he screamed, Mura, Mura, who's Mura? We lost to Mura. I can still hear him. If a player needed a little love, he better not knock on Conte's front door. For Conte, trust is earned in training. He has no filter. He's sincere, honest. He's a manager who only lives by results, whereas from a player's perspective, form is important too. That season, we lost 3-2 to Manchester United, a Ronaldo hat-trick, a result which didn't reflect our performance. I told Pierre and Harry Kane in the dressing room they may have just beaten us, but I bet you we finish above them. Also, we did, ending up in fourth place after battering Arsenal on the 3-0 on the last day, situating ourselves halfway between Conte's demanding nature and a little self-management, because by not being whipped and screamed at, we eventually stuck our fingers in our ears. So, a damning assessment on the Conte era. We all kind of knew that, but when you actually hear that, Cal, that's horrific, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of them where so many players have said it in the past that Conte is a very hard man manager. When he does it, he demands the best. He demands it on the pitch. But if you want a shoulder to cry on, or if you want to go and get some guidance from your gaffer, he's not really that sort of person. He's like, he'd probably rather go and be like how it was in the Amazon documentary when Danny Rose goes in to speak to Mourinho. I'll go and speak to Daniel. I'll go and speak to Daniel and all that. You'll probably get more sympathy out of him than Conte.
Yep.
Let's put it that way. But no, I mean, he definitely demanded a lot of the squad. It definitely links in with that mentality. I mean, compared to, say, Poch, where Poch's door was always open, he'd be happy to speak to them, he was all their friends. Mourinho, a little bit more devoid of it, but it seems like they all thought that Conte was the Antichrist and all that in the way that it was. And he demanded a lot, but did we really have the squad capable? And this comes back to what we said earlier. Did ENIC back Conte?
Nope.
Did Conte have all the players that he wanted for it? No. And that's the thing in that. So this was obviously the first season when he came in, taking over from Nuno, weren't it? In November or December. He did very good with that. But when you look back at it now, Conte's not the sort of person that you want to cross and all that. And I think if I had a boss like that, I think I'd have just gone, oh no, sod this. I can't deal with this on a day-to-day basis. I want to have a calm working environment where I can go about and do my trade. These guys are trying. Whether they're doing it to his standards, though, is another story and all that. And Lloris was very honest, and he obviously spoke about Conte, spoke about Mourinho, spoke about Poch. He was very damning about Daniel as well, wasn't he? And by the end of it, he said Pochettino was a man. He'd been saying all along, we need this rebuild, we need this, we need that. He said that Pochettino wasn't given the chance to rebuild, and then when he did have the players, he wasn't given the time to do it. Said that the Amazon documentary was all Daniel's pushing. Pochettino didn't want it. Mourinho didn't want it. The players were against it. The players didn't get, well, apparently they didn't get paid for it. They used to just move away from all of it. And it's all of this that doesn't paint a good picture of ENIC. So we've had the stuff that Conte said, fuck all. I mean, the stuff that David Pleat has said the other day about not getting, he's being able to do his stuff when Pleat is a Spurs man through and through and has worked there so long. The stuff with Mourinho saying that he wasn't backed and he was sacked before a final because he was going to get a bonus if he won it. Conte saying he did the best he could, but maybe he wasn't right for Tottenham. Pochettino saying that he still loved the club and he would have come back if he got the chance, but he was never given the chance to come back as well. So, I mean, how many people have to be a yes man for ENIC, and then that yes man will then get fucked over? Then they go to the next step, getting a win now manager, but not backing them with win now stuff, screwing over the people that have been at the club for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably got comfortable, but tried their best as well. It's
all about a power note.
Spurs don't paint themselves in a good way. Yeah, exactly. It's all the stuff that about these Europa League games this year when they should be a Category C game, and it should be a Category H or G game or whatever, and it's been categorised as a big game.
Yeah.
No offence to Elfborg, but if they're getting top budgeting for however much they are, well, that's a joke. I mean, probably the biggest game we'll play in Europe this year so far and on games that are predictive would be Roma. AZ Alkmaar, no, not a big game. They are a decent Dutch team. When you categorise these games, it's all about money now. It's not about senior concessions, child concessions, vulnerable adults, all of that stuff. It's just how much money the club can get out of it. And that's how it's being looked. Pound note now, isn't it?
It's funny, Cal, because all these discussions always end up. Have you noticed they all have one theme, running theme? Everybody who leaves Tottenham talks badly about Daniel Levy and ENIC. That's a fact, and these happy clapping Levy fans have to accept the fact that he's the problem. He is the issue here. No matter who we get in, we can have Pep Guardiola. We still have Daniel Levy as our owner. But listen, I'm going to have to wrap up, mate. Wrap up a little bit early tonight. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. I know it's not been an easy show to listen to, and just want to pull up what Johnny said really quickly because I think this is a really good point. Where is it? Oh, where is it? If I can find it. There it is. Yes, don't spin any wheels. It'd be completely unfair to give an Ipswich win and climb up the table. No Spurs able to win it. Ipswich spot on. That's why we're not. We're giving a 5-0 Tottenham win for all of them. We'll put those scores in the chat for everybody. But don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Cal, where can we find you, mate?
As always, mate, you can find me at CallumStubbs97 on Twitter, and you can find me on H's Premier League show on, I think, 7:30 on Wednesday night before you're on Fat Pod, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, so you can find me at Park Lane Pod Dave or at Park Lane Pod. Again, I will be here on Wednesday night at 9 o'clock for Fat Pod Lads, and I've had a very decent week in FPL this week. So where's that comment from Jay earlier on? Where is it? Jay said earlier on today, I didn't do very well in FPL. I only scored 32. Well, I'm above 60 this week, so I'm having a good week. So I'm looking forward to the show. So tune in 9 p.m. on Wednesday for Fat Pod Lads Extra Time, all your FPL chat. But look, Cal, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, mate, and joining me. I know it's not been an easy show, and thank you to everyone in the chat. But I don't really want to say come on, you Spurs, so I'm going to say fuck ENIC, and we'll see you all soon.
Let's go again.